Hello, everyone. So, this is the first episode of Making Change for 2024. And I wanted to start this off with a bang. More importantly, though, I wanted to start it off in a place of purpose. This guest that I have has made a huge impact on my life in a very short time. I'm not going to get too deep into the weeds about it, but during the pandemic, I got a chance to get a bar of this sister. My cousin Jamila Evans was constantly posting these things, these reels on Facebook, and I was super skeptical. And when I decided to actually sit down and listen to what she was saying, she really touched the urban girl in me. Everything that she was saying, it really kind of touched home. But more importantly, she was offering this safe space that created a place of vulnerability for me. Vulnerability is something that was very foreign for me, but shame was a place that I lived in and I was very comfortable there. Brooke has made not only an everlasting impression on my life, but on the lives of so many women. And I'm talking about from coast to coast. Sister, your reach is far. Brooke, thank you so much. I know you are busy. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Let's get right into it. And let me rewind a little bit. Brooke is the founder and the CEO of Breaking Free from Me. So
Amen.
I think it's very important that we put that out there.
Yes.
This sister is a boss. She is about her business. But when I tell you she comes from a place of humility, her faith is deep and it is embedded in everything that she does. That is what makes her and what she does so unique. So,
Oh,
Brooke, thank you for being here. I
thank you.
appreciate you. Brooke,
Listen,
please.
thank you for that introduction. Although we're in the personal development space and I happen to mentor you and others, you pour into me just like I pour into you. It's what makes me keep going. So thank you for saying all of that about me. Like that really warms my heart. It really does.
Well, you know what? It comes from a place that is genuine. Okay. Absolutely genuine. Because when I thought about kicking off this year, I'm like, who is the most impactful person I can have that is
Mm,
going to make the greatest difference, especially to my core audience? And
mhm,
more importantly, to women that are just like me, that come from Mississippi, that have been in San Diego, that have been in places that are really uncomfortable.
mhm.
And when I met you, I was broken. I wasn't broke yet. Broke came a little later on, but I was definitely broken. And it was so nice to find somebody that could relate.
Right.
So I appreciate you
And I
and
appreciate you.
everything that you have done because you have created a community for me that is everlasting. So, hey,
Thank you.
we're going to get into
I
the things.
I just have to say I'll never ever ever forget you from when you came into our community for the first time. It was the the post, it was your presence. It was you made a name. When you came in, you made your mark, I'll say. And I feel like that post that you made in our community just of your before and after and you sharing your story, it was the post where I said, wow, God, like you're actually doing something within this space. And this is
Yes,
real. This purpose is real. So thank
yes,
you
yes.
for just being open to the experience.
Yes, and I have to throw that out there since you opened it up for me. Your platform is the only place that I have ever felt comfortable enough to tell my story,
Mm,
even to this day. It's not something that I talk about when I am interacting with people or interviewing them, but you gave me a safe space, and it was okay to be me, and it was okay to bring in those broken pieces because I wasn't alone. And that felt so freeing,
mm,
and it allowed me this space to want to converse with other people, this space to want them to have the ability and a place to tell their story. So
yes,
thank you for giving me that and thank those sisters because it was a space of non-judgment.
it
And
was.
you don't get that a lot.
You don't. That's the ultimate goal. That was the goal all along. That's what I prayed for. And here we are today. We've
Yes,
provided that space. And it's not just because of me, obviously because of God, but because of all of you. It takes a community, right?
yes,
It takes yes, a leader or a mentor, but I mean, all the other women have to be open because we could have gotten a bad couple of seeds, right?
Yes.
And they could have
Yes.
come in and ruined the whole experience. But God willing, we never have that, and we haven't experienced it so far.
Yes. Well, that's also because you are anointed, and that's for a whole nother conversation.
Amen.
But you are definitely anointed, okay?
Thank you.
There's no doubt about it. Brooke, please tell everybody where you're from, where you reside at now, and any background you'd like to give about you.
Okay, I am from the suburbs of Philadelphia, and I'm going to say that because we're on this platform. I don't want to say Philly because the Philly people will get me. I'm from the suburbs of Philadelphia, Bluebell, Pennsylvania, but I live in Washington, D.C. I actually live in the city of Washington, D.C. And I am grown. Okay, I'm over 35, 37, all right, out here. And I just everything about me embodies my company. It embodies breaking free for me. I live it, eat it, breathe it. It is my purpose. But it wasn't always like that, right?
Mm.
I was a woman who didn't see herself. I too was broken and broke several times.
Yeah.
And I looked at myself like a failure. I was a failure. I wasn't smart enough. I wasn't good enough. I used alcohol to suppress a lot of things. And God is good because I don't think about any of those things anymore at all.
Yes.
They're
Yes.
completely removed from my system. So I say all of that to give people some realty about me versus what they see now. I was
Hmm.
a mess, and God bless me to come to
Yeah.
the other side, I would say.
Yes. And for any of the ladies out there that are watching, coming from a certain demographic, you feel like failure is not an option.
Right.
When you meet Brooke and you get into this group, what you recognize is that sometimes failure is a part of the process.
Failure is a part of the process.
And that was something that I was deathly afraid of. So just a little sidebar, Brooke makes it okay to
Mhm.
not be okay. She
Yes.
gives you that space to authentically bring you to the table. And it's not always like that.
Mhm.
So I'm grateful for that. And the women that I have met, because I've heard all kinds of stories, okay? I've heard everything.
We got
But it's the
everything in
story.
our community.
Yes, yes, but it's the stories of redemption that means so
Yes.
much. And it's watching someone actually come out of their shell and be comfortable enough to say, this is who I am, and
Yes.
to be transparent. And that is not something that everyone gets to experience. So I think that that is why breaking free for me is so important.
Yes.
So important. Now, Brooke, you are a mentor. So when I say the word mentorship, what does that mean to you?
When I think about mentorship, I think about all the mentors that I had and what they did for me. Mentorship saved my life because it was
Mm.
often women that were not in my family. Obviously, the women in my family, they definitely mentored me, but sometimes you just need another woman in your life that comes along that just pours into you. So I think about all of my mentors that I had and how much they changed my life. And I wanted to be that for somebody. So when I think of mentorship, I think of just pouring into someone and showing them that you see them. You see what they cannot see, but you want to get them to believe it, to finally see it for themselves. So I'm just pouring into you, making sure your cup is overflowing with everything that you need to see yourself the way God sees you.
Yes, I
So
love it.
yes, that's all it means. It's just really pouring into your sister.
Yeah, I get it. Let me ask, when did you know mentoring people was your calling?
Probably funny enough, maybe since I was a little girl.
Ooh,
Honestly, I have always been the teacher. Like I
yeah.
remember growing up and I'm the oldest. So you know how when you're the oldest sibling, it naturally falls on you like being
Hmm.
responsible, being the leader. And I was always getting in trouble in school for talking too much. I always had something to say. Always. That was always on my report card. It wasn't A's and B's, but I talked too much.
Ooh.
I think I've always had it in me, and I think it started to be suppressed when trauma happened and when other people's opinions happened. But I believe that it was always within me, and women would come up to me and ask me for just advice, like friends or just random people that follow me on Facebook when that was the only social media back then. And I was
Mm.
happy to give the advice. It made me feel, I don't know, like a joy inside. Like the little girl in me was happy. So I think it was always there. It only was until I started my journey that I was like, oh, okay, I see it now, God. I see you had a plan all along.
Now, I have to ask, was there anything in particular from your background that you felt like pushed you in this direction?
Definitely my career in sales. I worked
Mm.
in luxury sales. And it was when I used to be an international art gallery director. And that sounds real fancy. It's not that fancy. I just sold artwork to rich people. There you go. In layman's terms.
It sounds fancy. It sounds fancy. I agree.
That position helped me with public speaking. It allowed me to gain my first mentor that poured into me and said, you have something special in you. And up until that point, no one had ever told me that, like an educator or a leader of some sort. No one had ever told me that because I had a teacher tell me I was stupid. So that's what I felt. When that mentor poured into me in that way, it was like something just changed on the inside of me. And I learned public speaking skills. I learned how to build relationships really quickly. And I learned to sit in conversations with the wealthy, with the elite, and hold my own. And
Yes.
that's when you really boss up.
Yes, most definitely. Okay. I can't wait to get in them rooms and have those conversations. I can't
Yes.
wait. I can't wait.
Yes.
Now, you spoke a little bit in your introduction about some of the hurdles that you had to get over.
Yes.
In the group, you kind of touch on there was a time that you were kind of, you were a self-proclaimed party girl.
Mm-hmm.
Was there anything that occurred in your life that made you change your perspective on how you were living and the direction you were going?
Oh yeah, too many hangovers. Alcohol poisoning. I mean, you name it. Bad decisions. Doing the wrong things. I mean, when you're drinking, and when I was drinking, I was getting pretty blackout drunk, right? Shots, all doing all of it. It wasn't just let's go out and have a glass of wine. It was we're going out, we're partying till 4 a.m. And at some point, you have to reflect on your life and say, I did this and it wasn't appropriate. I cussed these people out and lost these friendships. I entertained the wrong individuals that caused stress in my life. And everyone that's surrounding me, we think this is okay. And we're numbing our pain. That's what we're really doing here. Because why can't I go out and not have 5 drinks? Right? Why do I need to have 5? Why do I need to have 7?
Mm-hmm.
And it took a lot in me to stop drinking, to move away from that crowd. That's all I knew was to go out and be a party girl. So once I wanted to stop making the bad decisions, and let's be real, being with the wrong people that I probably would have never been with if I wasn't intoxicated, had those
Mm-hmm.
beer goggles on,
Mm-hmm.
and the hangovers, like the drinking was making me not only hungover but depressed, very depressed
Mm-hmm.
for weeks at a time. I knew it just wasn't the right way. So a lot of self-reflection and therapy. I realized I couldn't drink anymore. It just I couldn't. I don't know how to have one.
Yeah, I get it.
I don't know how to
I'm,
have
I,
one.
I get it. I'm the same way with tequila. I understand
And
completely.
that was my drink of choice too. Tequila,
Ooh,
tequila,
wait.
tequila.
I understand. I do. Well, hey, I'm glad that you made it on the other side. I am.
Let's pray to God we stay on this other side,
Yeah.
okay?
Now, Brooke, please tell everyone, what is breaking free from me?
Oh, breaking free for me. When I describe it to somebody, I say it is the moment, your moment of truth, where you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, no one else is to blame for my stuff. No one is responsible for my healing. I am the one in control of my life, obviously along with God. it is when you finally just look yourself in the eye and say, I need to break free from me, this version of myself.
Mhm.
It's all things personal development, just getting you to a place to align with your highest self, with the ultimate life that God has for you. But at the center of it all is you wanting to break free from yourself and leaving everybody else out of the equation.
Mm. I want you to take us on your breaking free from me journey from concept to the very first group.
Oh man, taking it all the way back. I was a mess, broken, drinking, going through a heartbreak or breakup. I lost everything during the pandemic. I didn't have work. Just my life fell apart. And to be honest, I didn't realize that my life had already fallen apart before then, but it was a mess.
Mm.
I
Mm.
decided to go on a 40-day fast, and that is when everything changed for me. Now, leading up to the pandemic and being at rock bottom, God would always whisper in my ear, course, and I would
Mm.
push it away. I had purchased this program that would teach you how to put a course together, package it, and help whoever you need to help. And I just pushed it away. Every night that I got on my knees to pray, course, it became
Mm.
louder and louder. Now, I thought it was one course, but it turned into something different. But being on that 40-day fast, I actually leaned into that. And I said, okay, Lord, what is this course that you want me to do? And the girl that I purchased the course from, I ended up working for her. I ended up being on her
Mm.
team, which is wild, right? And I
That's how
ended up
God works.
making, look
Mm.
at God, right? How
Yep.
he just works everything together for our good.
Yes. Yes.
But I ended up working on her team and making all of the money that I needed to make to actually pour into my business. And this all
Mm.
came out of nowhere because I couldn't make a cent, okay, for months, at least 9 months. And all of this happened within 7 days. And forgive me, my cat might run across. Hopefully that's fine. She
You are
is
just fine.
okay.
Just fine. My son just came in here and got a whole plate full of food. Okay. You are just fine. Okay.
Okay. So I started to do my research. I really leaned in with the girl that I was working with, and learned so much being on her team. And I decided to develop this program called Breaking Free for Me, which was not fully personal development at the time. It was, I'm going to teach you how to sell yourself and also work on your mindset. That's how it all
Mm.
started. And I used that money that I made with her and I put it into Facebook ads. I had my first challenge. I had never done any
Mm.
of this before, by the way. And next thing I know, I think I had 12 women for my first launch that
Mm.
enrolled in the program. And majority of them were actually referrals from Mississippi because my ex-best friend lived in Mississippi. So yeah, she referred a lot of girls to me. And then of course I got women that were a part of the challenge, but that is how it all happened. But I had 12 women. And funny enough, I told them on the last day of the program everything that I was going through. They knew nothing.
Mm. Mm.
Nothing. So I would get off of the call with them and go back into my fetal position and cry.
Wow. Wow. That's
Hmm.
deep.
They
That's
knew
deep.
nothing because I was only about 6 months into my healing at the time from being at rock bottom. And I still
Mm.
decided to do it and just lean into what God was telling me.
It's amazing. Won't he do it though? Make sure that you
Won't
don't
he
look
do
like
it?
what you're going through.
I know that's right because I sure did. I didn't, but I was going through it, okay?
Phew. Now,
Hmm.
Brooke, I have to know, what insights have you learned about yourself since being on the Breaking Free from Me journey?
So much. I think there's different seasons for everything. Wouldn't you
Mm.
agree? Like there's different
Definitely.
seasons for different layers of ourselves.
Yes,
I would say the
totally.
most recent thing that I've learned is that I really do see myself the way God sees me now.
Ooh,
And
wee.
it took a long time. It took a long time to get there. And I thought when I prayed this prayer back in 2019 that it would just happen overnight. I am just now getting to the place where I'm like fully stepped into that.
Wow,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Yes.
no joke. Let me ask you something. Are you ever surprised that there are so many women from different backgrounds that are overcoming the same struggles or demons?
Oh, absolutely. Every time I meet somebody new in the community, I'm like, where is this coming from? It I don't think it will ever stop surprising you. I really
Mm,
don't. You might think it will get easier, but it doesn't. It actually gets a little bit harder to believe that this is real, like that we're really a community and that everybody is kind of going through similar things, but we're working through them differently. So no, it's always a surprise. It's always just taking my breath away almost. Yeah.
yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine
Hmm.
because in our group, there were so many different women across the spectrum. So
So many.
I get that completely, okay? But it's amazing the connections that you watch these women make. And these are lifelong connections.
Lifelong. That's the best part. I would say that's the best part. You never know how people are going to connect, right? Especially women. We never know how we're going to connect with each other. Like
True.
I mentioned earlier, we're very fortunate to have women that form these lifetime bonds, and we're connecting over our pain, right? We're
Yes.
connecting over our pain, we're connecting over the fact that we want to break free, and we see each other.
Mm, it's true. At
Yeah.
first, it starts off as a trauma bond,
Yeah.
but by the end, you are rejoicing.
You're rejoicing. It's love.
It-
It's
yes, it's like a
sisterhood.
360,
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I am a skeptic. So to watch it unfold that way,
Yeah.
look, it's the truth. It just is. It's the truth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When you are stepping into that space of mentoring people, what work do you do to prepare yourself?
I want to say that my work looks a little bit different now. Before, it was a little bit more intense, where I had to be very strict with my regimen. I needed to
Mm,
be up at a certain time. I needed to be at the gym. I needed to be in my word. It was very, very strict. Now it looks like showing myself more grace and honoring my peace. What is going to make me walk in peace today so that I can show up and make space for these women that I need to pour into, but they also need my support, right? So every single morning I have like these essential oils that my cousin bought me, and I rub them on my temples, and I just do some slight meditation and a devotional.
mm.
Have to start my day that way every single morning, and I must make my bed, look up at my affirmation board, and affirm some things over my life before I walk
Oh,
into that bathroom. And that makes me feel empowered for the day.
wow. And I've heard about temple meditation before. So that's deep.
Oh, you got to do it. You got to do it.
That's
Get you some
deep.
essential oil, rub it on, or even just like
It
your body on your heart as you're doing your meditation and just breathing it
really
in. It just makes you so calm and centered, and
wow.
I feel like you just are more connected to yourself.
Okay. So you connect with these women from all different walks of life. How do you find common ground with all of them?
It's so funny that we're just going to start right there.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's a part of my purpose, a part of my purpose, and I also I want to make sure that everybody feels seen and heard, right? I don't want anybody to feel like they're left out. And I enjoy just connecting with everybody on their own individual levels, some more than others, right? Some really just need the nurturing and attention. Others are like, they're here, they're
Yeah.
here. We check
Yeah.
in. But I love connecting with every single person. I want to know who's in the community. I don't want you to just join and then you're just a
Yeah.
face that I don't recognize. I really enjoy getting to know everybody.
And you know everybody, okay? You know
Everybody.
everybody in the
And
group,
their
you know their
kids and their
background.
mom and their
Yes.
grandmom too.
Look, I love it, okay? But that's what it's supposed to be, though. That is what it's supposed to be when you're deep diving into people's lives. You know what I'm saying? Let
Yes.
me ask you, when you think about wellness, what comes to mind for you?
When I think about meditation. Or you know what? Better yet, I
Mm.
think about wholeness.
Ooh,
Wholeness. Yeah.
right.
The reason why meditation came to mind is because I think meditation is such a great spiritual practice to just connect to your body. And when you're connected to yourself, you feel God's presence more, you are more intuitive and use your discernment, and you just know what you want. You're making those boss moves, as we would say, those power moves when you're connected to yourself. And I think wholeness is really what brings you to a place of just like being centered and at peace
Yes.
and moving intentionally.
Mm, I like that. I like
Yeah.
that. Now, you have a morning routine that is out of this world. Please tell everybody what your wellness routine looks like.
Like I said, not anymore. My routine is not as strict. I was too strict
Mm,
on myself before, but that's because I was so pressed to
mm,
heal and overcome. And now that, I'm kind of out of that phase and I'm still healing, right? I'm still overcoming,
mm,
but I'm more in a space of I understand what it means to show myself grace, and it's okay if I miss a day. I'm not beating myself up. So now it's whatever is going to bring me peace. Always connecting with God first every single morning, even if that is I'm sliding. I make a joke. I slide off the bed right onto my knees and just be like, "Thank you, Lord. That's all I got this morning. Thank you for today. Thank you for
yes,
waking me." But you have to have those first moments with God because another day is another blessing, right?
it's true.
And
It's
I
true.
get into my devotional so I can have some word for the day. And then I affirm a couple things, only a couple things, not too much before I go brush my teeth. And funny enough, when I'm in the bathroom brushing my teeth, I speak to myself as if I am living the ultimate life that I want to live.
Mm,
So I'm like, oh, get ready with me for a day in a life of just a day full of meetings. I had an interview with Gail King today about my book. Oh my gosh, I can't wait for it. I really do that every single day. I believe in manifestation and
yes.
just speaking things. Yeah,
Yes, and that is what it's about. I got to start doing that in the morning too. I might
got
be
to do
talking to Idris Elba, but I'm gonna do it in the morning. I'm definitely gonna do it. So, what inspires you on a daily basis? What motivates Brooke on a daily basis?
now that it's changed. Before it just was I want to be a boss. I want to prove something to the people that were haters. Now it's not that. It's I want to create generational change in my family. I want to create generational wealth, and I have a niece now. I'm
Yeah,
a first time auntie, and when I see my niece, it's like I'm going to give you the love that a woman should have, a little girl should have. And I want you to experience that for your whole life. So it's more important. Generational change is the most important to me now. Whatever that looks like. I don't have to have the most money, but I want to make impact. And
yes.
so my niece inspires me to really just wake up and do better every single day so that I can
Well,
create the generational change. Oh, I love
well,
that little girl.
yes. See, it's nothing like having a why. It's nothing like having a why, especially one that's so cute and
Mm-hmm.
beautiful, and she is, and she's so chubby, and she's all of those things, and
She's
she's
so
loved.
chubby. She had us fooled, right? Coming out early.
Let me ask, how do you stay disciplined? How? Because that's something that I struggle with. How do you stay disciplined?
When you want it bad enough, you will stay disciplined.
Mm, go ahead.
I
Mhm.
and we could talk about your discipline too, right? Why you just can't seem to stay committed. There's something underlying where there's a fear, what if it doesn't work out? What if all of these things I got to plan for it? I got to do all of the stuff. None of it matters. If you want something and you believe God put it on your heart, or God is speaking to you, or without a shadow of a doubt you're meant to live this bigger life, right? When you just know and you do. You just go after it. It doesn't matter the circumstances, you just do it.
Wow. We've talked about God, and I know that hands down from my first meeting, that is who guides your steps. God and faith has such a huge impact on your
Mhm.
life and mentoring. Um, how has faith played a part in all of this?
Faith is so it's literally everything. I think God saved my life. I got baptized in 2015, but I was in and out. I was still in the streets, but I was going to church on Sunday. Might have been hungover, but I was going. It took some time to really get me to a place where I'm like, okay, this is the life that God has called for me. Now, keep in mind, our community is for imperfect women of faith. I do not claim to be the most holy. I have to leave that room for error. I don't want people to look at me like I'm perfect or our community. Because one thing we're going to do is cuss you out because we're not
Mm-hmm.
fully saved,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
We got to
So
leave room for
true.
that. We might cuss. We have to leave room for the imperfection of life, right?
Yes.
We might backslide and do the wrong thing. And I want to say that faith sometimes gets mixed with like the whole religious thing. If you
Mm-hmm.
do this, you don't belong anymore. I don't want any woman to feel like that. So I've had to just come to terms with like, what does faith really look like for me? And that looks like having the most imperfect relationship with God.
Mm.
That's what it looks like. Not placing that idea of perfection, like I'm going to be so perfect all the time. It just
Yes.
doesn't
And
work.
that's what is a huge caveat about the group is that you leave room for us to fail because you
Yes.
understand that there are times that we are going to backslide, that we are going to fall down. And the
Hmm.
most important part is really getting back up and really getting back in the game. And that is what I love so much about these group of women is that they are not propping themselves up to be perfect at all. And if so, that whole demeanor leaves as soon as you get into the group.
It
So you
sure
might show up
does.
and be real perfect, the first day. But after that, all of that starts shedding,
The mask comes off.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
And
the
you
mask
don't
comes
get
off.
that a lot, and like we are really relating. I'm not going to say, on some ratchet stuff. We are just relating though,
Yes.
about things that you may not feel comfortable talking to
Yep.
your mother or your sister or your cousin about for
Or the
fear of
church
judgment.
about
Yes. Yes.
that part.
So I cannot stress the importance of breaking free for me and what this journey feels like for all of us who have been a part of it. Now, Brooke,
Yes.
you had your first retreat last year. First
Yes.
retreat. Okay, that's big time. That's big time. See, I was broken when I entered the group. When the retreat came around, I was broke. So it's a big difference. But you had your first retreat. Brooke,
Yes.
what was it like planning that? What was it like meeting these women face to face that you've been mentoring?
The retreat is my number one.
Mm,
And all of the women who came, they all say like that's the best part of breaking free for me. Planning it was a pain in the butt, right? Because there was so much that went into it, but the women being in one space and bonding and us laughing and staying up all night, there no words could describe that feeling. We became so close and built I don't just relationships. I thought we already had close relationships, but that weekend just helped us break free so much more. It was
wow.
everything, and I can't wait till we have another one. Oh, it
I
was
can
so
tell.
good.
I can tell. Now, let me ask you something. And you kind of led into that. Is this going to be something that you put on annually?
I would love to actually have multiple retreats a year, maybe two or
Oh.
three. Yeah, that would be great. Uh, funny enough, I'm actually thinking about the next retreat, and I'm thinking of having it in Phoenix.
Nice. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking
Yeah,
about. Right up the
because
street
it's
from your
hot
girl.
there, and that's what we need at all times is warm weather.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, not only are you a mentor, you're an entrepreneur.
Mhm.
What was that leap of faith like when you first decided to invest in yourself and start your own business?
The hardest leap of faith I've ever made in my life.
Wow.
Yeah, and entrepreneurship, owning a business is hard work. I'm not going to pretend like it's not. It's just there's so many layers to it, so many complexities to it. But it's the best leap of faith that I've ever taken. I think you'll always be learning as an entrepreneur. I'm glad that I took it. It was the step that changed my life.
Mm,
That's what I would
wow.
say. It was the step that changed my life.
What advice would you give for anyone that's looking to take that same leap of faith?
To jump.
Ooh.
You know why? It's within you and it's never going to leave you. If that feeling never leaves you, like when God kept whispering in my ear, course, course,
Mhm.
course, it's never going to go away if you are meant to do it. If you don't do it, I feel like you live a life of regret, right? I was never fulfilled before. I'm not fulfilled working a corporate job or doing the things that I'm not meant to do. I'm only fulfilled walking in purpose and doing the things I'm called to do.
Mhm.
So I couldn't imagine where my life would be. And I think about all the women who know that they're meant to do something great and they still don't do it because of fear.
I know.
Just jump. God will catch you. You will learn along the way. And this is why a community like ours is very important. We can be there to support you, to encourage you, to help you. And when you're needing to scream, that's what community is there for.
Yes. Yes. I agree. 5 years from now, where do
Oh
you
man.
see breaking free from me?
Oh my gosh.
Look, I can see the billboards plastered everywhere. Okay.
Come on.
I can.
Listen, I claim that. 5 years from now, I would say that our conference is like huge. The Breaking Free for Me conference.
Yes.
Our retreats are like in Dubai. They're international, okay? They're
Yes.
international. And lots of speaking engagements and making impact not just to women that are our age, but like young women too, so that they don't have to go through the same stuff that we went through and learned the hard way. We should start mentoring people earlier. And I
Agreed.
also think having other Breaking Free for Me mentors like you, right? You have a story.
All right. So you talked about, mentorship within the group.
Hmm.
What advice do you have for any woman who is listening to this, who is lost, who is broken, who has gone down that road that you've gone down, and they are just looking for something greater?
Hmm. Be honest with yourself is my always my first step, is have your moment of truth and just keep it real. What have you done to bring about the brokenness, leaving everybody else out of the equation, facing yourself and just being honest so that
Mm.
you can have a foundation to start at, right? So having that moment of truth and saying, okay, now I get to start fresh. I get to start brand new and I get to break free from me.
Yes.
Having community, you have to, even if it's one person, you need to have someone who's on a similar path, because when you're trying to heal and grow and you're still surrounding yourself with the same people, it does not work. You are no longer in alignment, and that's painful for a lot of people. But you will soon find out you are going to lose friendships and relationships sooner or later because you're evolving and growing and they're staying the same. So
Yeah.
your moment of truth, getting community, and building your relationship with God in the most imperfect way.
Mm.
In the
Phew.
most
I like that.
imperfect way.
I
Yes.
like that.
Those three
Now,
things right there, that's all you
yeah.
need. That's all you need.
Ooh, see, that's a promo right there. That's a promo right there, bro. Promo. What expectations should women have when they decide to join this amazing group and this extraordinary community?
I don't really know that they do need to have any expectations. They just
Mm.
come as they are. This Our community is the place where we are going to accept you flaws and all. Have the expectation that you will be accepted. There you go. You will be
I
accepted
like that.
for everything that you are, no matter what your past is. Somebody in our community went through
Yep,
it,
that's true. That is so
overcame
true.
it, and they're going to be able to help you. If it's not me, it's some other sister within our community. So just know that you're going to be accepted exactly as you are, and you're going to
And
be
that's the
loved on.
truth.
Yeah.
That's the truth. You bring your whole authentic self to the
Your whole
table.
authentic self. Like
That
you
is so
said,
true.
after the first call, they're going to be like, oh, let me go ahead and take this mask off because I'm
Yeah,
coming with my real tea next time.
yes, so true. I'm sure that there are people who want to know, you are a mentor. Do you have a mentor yourself?
I think I have many mentors. I have many mentors
Mm,
from women in my family, especially. I've always admired my older cousin. She's a
mm.
professor. Oh, she's just like fabulous. Okay,
Ooh, yes,
she has set the precedence for me of what it looks like to be a successful woman of faith. So my cousin, to just women that I've met along my journey, that have poured into me and showed me what it looks like to really be that girl, a
yes,
boss, but
yes,
also a nice, humble woman.
yes,
So yeah,
yes.
I have many mentors that I can call on. I feel very blessed for that.
Now, before I get to the last question, I was reading an article today and I thought about you.
Okay.
Woman with 3 kids. Financially, she is completely unstable.
Mm,
And what they were questioning was, can she have a positive mindset while she is broke?
mm.
Is that even possible? So, is that possible, Brooke, to be kind of going through it financially, to be living paycheck to paycheck, and still have that solid positive mindset?
Absolutely. You can have a positive mindset. Here's what keeps you broke: thinking about your circumstances, right?
Mm,
Constantly thinking, oh, I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I have these kids. Look at my house. Look at my life. This is never going to change. If you constantly repeat that to yourself, your circumstances never change. When you
mm,
start to shift your perspective and think about the ultimate life that you want, and speak it and affirm it over your life and have a
yes.
prayer life, let me tell you, your situation can change so quickly. And even if it takes 6 months, it takes 6 months. But when you are speaking positively to yourself, and like we said, in the mirror while you're brushing your teeth, just talking about your future life, you start to feel hopeful, right?
Mm, yes.
And if you ask God for small things like, Lord, show me how you're going to move on my behalf, just in a small way, and He starts to show you, more good things come in. More good things. You start to
Mm.
believe in yourself. You start to
I
show up.
love how
Yeah.
you talked and just touched on the importance of being impeccable with your word.
With your
And we think
words.
that that only applies when we're talking to other people, but it's so important and how we converse with ourselves.
Yes.
I am so glad you said that. Now, Brooke, my last question for you, okay? Because you have lived a life and you're still living a life. You talked about the things that you went through growing up. You talked about what it felt like to be in a classroom and have a teacher look down on you
Hmm.
and to treat you as though you weren't good enough. And now look at you. So, if you had any advice to give to the younger version of Brooke, what would you say?
Oh, man. That's deep. That will make you cry when you think about your
Yeah.
younger self who was so broken and filled with trauma. I would probably tell the younger version of me that God sees you
Mm,
and you're actually so much better than you think you are.
mm,
If only you could see yourself, then
right.
you would move around with so much more confidence. Yeah, that's what I would tell
I
her.
love it. I
Hmm.
love it. Brooke, thank you.
Thank
And this
you.
is not just from me. This is for all of the women that you
Oh,
touch. The women who look like me, the ones who don't, the women whose mindsets are just in the garbage.
hmm.
And then we meet you. And it's that mustard seed, but it's also having somebody see you. And I don't know what is more important sometimes, because visibility, being understood, just having somebody pour into you in a way that is so positive,
Yes.
and you're not having to negotiate about your worth.
Mm.
I am grateful because I have yet to meet anyone who has made such a heavy impression on my life in such a short time.
Hmm.
And I am grateful. So thank you.
Thank
I
you. I'm grateful
appreciate
for you
you.
too.
And look, we pushing breaking free from me, okay?
That's right.
We are pushing it. It is going to be great. Brooke, thank you. You have a wonderful evening.
Thank you
And
so
keep
much.
on blessing us, okay?
I will. I will do my best.
Yes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Brooke.
All right. Bye.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, we touched on the fact that these women come from all walks of life.